I gotcha. Yeah, you let me know when we're gonna stream. Let me go get the clicker. Good afternoon, everyone. It looks like our weather impact alert being realized for this tornado threat here across East Texas. My name is Brett Anthony. I'm the CBS 19 Chief Meteorologist, and we're going to walk you through this afternoon with these tornado warnings that are going to be now starting to occur, I think several, as we head later into the afternoon. The first one out of the gate is going to be for Kaufman and Van Zant County, and that's going to be just to the north of Gun Barrel City. But this has Canton in its sights, so we have to warn everybody in Canton, especially with First Monday going on, to make sure that you are headed for your safe place right now. Look at all that lightning back here toward Gun Barrel City. This storm moving out to the northeast roughly at about 40 miles an hour. So as that storm crosses into that area, look at that tight rotation there just north of Gun Barrel City. In fact, our Titan indicator is picking up on that. And you can also see there was a severe thunderstorm warning with tornado possible tag on it. And so now that circulation has tightened up just a little bit, just a few miles off to the southwest of the city of Canton. So please, if you live in Canton, let's get to our safe place right now. And that safe place is going to be that lowest floor in your building or apartment building if you can get there. And it's also going to be the most interior room without windows. So if that means there's a bathroom that doesn't have windows, that's where you want to go. If there's a closet you could get into, take some pillows along, take your CBS 19 app, follow along as we track these storms for us. It's going to be several hours now, I think, before we go and break this programming, because we're going to be in this for a while, especially with the type of environment we have out there today and the number of potential tornado warnings that we can see. I'm going to zoom in on this just a little bit just to get us down so we can get a better look at things. You can see right here, there's Prairieville, there's Maybank. This just crossed over Maybank, so Maybank is on the south side of this dangerous cell right now. Jackson is not. It is headed toward Jackson. Scott is also within that square or that polygon, and Canton also inside of that square. So I'll put a time on it and give you an idea of what times for possible arrival. I also want to point out this other storm back here that also showing rotation just to the east of Richland. So we may end up getting another tornado warning out of that. In fact, we just got one now for Henderson County. So now we have two tornado warnings currently ongoing. That's going to be for Henderson and Navarro County as this cell tracks toward the city of Athens, the west side of Athens. Let me zoom in down to both of these cells. You can see Cairns is in that, Round Prairie also now in that new tornado warning that has just been issued here. And that's also going to be just across the Navarro County line. Headed, here's the Henderson County line. So Goodloe's right there. So it's just southwest of Goodloe. It looks like this one's going to be maybe a little bit stronger than that one up toward Canton. So this is definitely worth watching. This is nothing to just take, look, I don't want you going outside. We need you to get to your shelter right now. Eureka is very close to that storm. Winkler's also very close to that storm. This is 287. That's going to cross between Eureka and Winkler toward rural shade. Hopefully it doesn't turn to the right and stays out more in this rural area here, but it's going to cross over 287 within the next few minutes and continue moving up to the north and to the northeast toward rural shade. And then eventually, as well, widen it back here, there's Star Harbor. It looks like Athens is just outside of the tornado warning right now. But if I was in Athens, I'd go to my safe place right now and I'd just kind of hunker down for the next couple of hours. This could easily turn a little bit to the right. The type of environment we have out there this afternoon would lend itself to some of these storms just kind of turning a little bit farther to the right. And if they do, then Athens would be in the path of that. Log cabin right there. You can see some sort of a lot of turbulence also in the atmosphere just around Log Cabin, even though we don't have any official tornado warning yet in the Log Cabin area. Canton, again, there's the storm. It just passed Maybank. That's the second of 2 tornado warnings, the first one that was issued. It does look like this circulation's broadened out just a little bit. That's north of Odom now. Jackson, please, if you live in Jackson, if you live in Canton, if you're on the First Monday trade grounds, it's time to vacate that premises and go find some sturdier shelter. You do not want to be on the First Monday trade days as this thunderstorm moves across there. In fact, I'm just looking at the interior portion of that storm, but when we look at reflectivity, you can see how much rain is also coming into this storm system, plus the potential there for a lot of hail. So let me widen it all out and invite you to also, if you are streaming with us at CBS19 Plus, you can do that on our app. So if you want to go to your safe place and take that CBS19 app with us and then stream on CBS19 Plus, you can do that, and then we'll keep you up to date on all these storms. I'll go through places and what to do because of these tornado warnings. We're going to be on for several minutes, that is for sure, maybe even a couple of hours. But the second storm back here is also very powerful between Fairfield and Corsicana. So I'll give you the look at both of those storms in terms of the relation of the tornado warnings. There's that tornado warning. That is for Henderson, Navarro County. It's going to cross out of Navarro County into western Henderson County. Then we have Kaufman and Van Zant County also in that tornado warning. Those are the only 2 tornado warnings we have currently, but we'll keep an eye. In fact, there's a new tornado, another tornado warning that has just popped up, and this one's going to be east of Sulphur Springs, so in Hopkins County, Delta, Hopkins, and Lamar County till 3:15. So this one just popped up. If you live, let me show you where, if you live in Bogota, Hagensport, Maple Springs, even Mount Vernon, I would head to my safe place right now. Cooper, you're okay. Broadway, you're okay, but you're watching that storm very carefully. But Bogota, we got to watch that because that cell is headed right in your direction. In fact, it looks like that may have just weakened briefly on our Titan indicator, but that cell is sitting right near Nelta, just north of Interstate 30, just close to Florida. If you live in Florida, please head to your safe place right now because that storm is imminent. It is right on top of you as we speak, and that is another tornado warning till 3:15. So we currently have 3 tornado warnings ongoing across the area. I don't see anything confirmed yet, though that storm system back here toward Athens in the Navarro County area, that looks like we have some hatch marks on it. That could be inside, so this one could be observed. So we could have an observed tornado just southwest of Athens. Too close for Athens. I would head to my safe place right now. So that let's go back over what we have going on here. We have Henderson, Navarro County, that is till 3:30. You've got Kaufman and Van Zant County until 3 o'clock. Time now is 2:45 on this Friday afternoon in an environment where we have a moderate risk of tornadoes. And that moderate risk today was also highlighted with the potential to see strong tornadoes that would stay on the ground for a long time. Let me get an update from the Weather Service about that storm out in Navarro County, and that'll come to us from the National Weather Service over in the Fort Worth office. In the Fort Worth office, let me see what they're saying about that storm currently. So they had it looked like that was observed, and just give me a second here to run down and get the latest information on that. With those lines inside there, the rotation is ramping back up in Navarro County, and that was okay. So that was based on what they were seeing there with this rotation here. Okay, so that storm itself continues heading northeastward. Let me track this for you. We know it's heading northeast roughly. We're going to put roughly a track on that that's probably going to be in that order of about 20 to 25 miles an hour. So off of that cell, that's Cairns, Trinidad, Malakoff, Payne Springs, and Eustis are all in the path of that circulation there as it is crossed now over Highway or Interstate 45. All right, so let's go track a different storm for you and find a different cell. How about the one southwest of Canton? When I track this one for us, we're going to notice that this is also moving to that northeast direction roughly at about 25 to 30 miles an hour. I'll put a little faster speed on that just to give us a little extra time. Canton in about 14 minutes. You have about 14 minutes until this very scary looking cell crosses over Canton. Very heavy thunderstorm on top of that. Crosses over I-20 and continues moving up to the northeast. Lawrence Spring 315, Grand Saline about 324. Alba right around 340 as it continues its path up to the northeast. So we have two cells there, and then we have that third cell. I'll put a track on that. Again, that's headed for Bogota. That's going to be up here toward Weaver and Flora at this time, and we'll widen that out just a little bit to get a good look at it. This Titan indicator would tell us that we have a strong updraft in that storm, and again, severe thunderstorm warning surrounding that for Tauco. Clarksville's in the path of the tornado polygon, so we need you to be in your safe place right there. Okay, so northward, that extension, this is moving pretty fast. It's moving about 45 miles an hour, so that might be a better feel for how fast these are moving. But that's Bogota, 313, Clarksville, 330, Dimple, 337, and then Ackworth at about 346. All right, so let me spread that back out for us. 3 tornado warnings right now that have just popped up here within the last 10 to 15 minutes. That's our current situation. On top of that, we do have this tornado watch. In fact, the tornado watch was extended farther back to the southwest, so this will probably populate here in a minute or two and then pop on. But we also have tornado watches until 9 o'clock. This is going to be this sliver here of Smith County over through Upshur County, parts of Gregg County, and northward through Wood and Camp, and then Franklin, Morris, and Titus County, then up into the Arklatex. All right, so I'll go back to the radar just to get a feel of what we're looking at here. The overall general storm system itself is out here to the west. The lightning strikes themselves would indicate that we have some very powerful thunderstorms in an area today that it was conducive for. We had a moderate risk of thunderstorms. So intense thunderstorms, possibility of having some long track intense supercells, and those supercells could create tornadoes. And so we have a handful of tornado warnings right now until 3 o'clock for the Kaufman-Van Zant County storm, and then until 3:30 for Henderson and Navarro County, and then the other one to the north here that is going to be for Franklin and Red River County. So Franklin County, you've been added to the tornado warning till 3:30. Delta, Hopkins, and Lamar County till 3:15. So a little extension now for our viewers up in Franklin County on that storm system as it's kind of shifted a little bit to the right. Again, in this environment, as these storms are moving, just because of the way the winds are veering, these storms could easily begin to start turning to the right, not just continuing in their path from southwest to northeast. So there's going to be a little variation in their path as they move. So even though Tauco would appear to sit just on the edge of that tornado warning, I'd head to my safe place in Tauco. That would be a good idea right now, as that storm is still just downstream a little bit. Sulphur Springs is in between storms, but you've got this next very strong storm moving in from Emory currently, and as that storm moves in, that could become a tornado warning. We're looking at a strong inflow right here, so there's winds flowing into that storm. That possibly could become something. And then down into Van Zant County toward Canton right now, that storm is about 10 minutes away from Canton. At least the circulation, the tornadic circulation over Canton is about 10 minutes away. And if you go a little farther to the southwest, you get into that third tornado warning of the day. And that is now just for Van Zant County. So we just have a tornado warning for Van Zant County up to the north, and Henderson and Navarro County. So we'll go back to our wind tracker. This is strengthened. That is a stronger tornado now, and it looks like we continue with that. A severe thunderstorm warning, that's what those hatch lines are, and then they said tornado possible, then they upgraded to a tornado warning. So as I get a better chance to look at that a little bit more in depth, that's what we see there. So you've got a strong thunderstorm currently, and I'm going to zoom in. In fact, I'll probably look at our Titan indicator to see what we're looking at here. Between Winkler and Round Prairie. Okay, so this just got stronger. We may have a tornado on the ground north of Winkler near Cairns, south and east of Cairns. So let me go in a little bit farther on that. That's a really tight rotation there at Round Prairie. So here's Malakoff. Please, if you live in Malakoff, go to your safe place right now. Again, I'm just saying this because it's easier to go to your safe place. Maybe take your radio with you. We are live on the air with our weather partners, 106.5 Jack FM, Kicks 105.7. Of course, 103.7 The Ranch in La Visora, 96.7. We're live with those radio stations covering the storms. We'll go back to regular programming when we are done covering these storms, but it may be an hour or two before that is said and done, because this is just the start of this day. But I'm going to zoom in even farther on Round Prairie. We have that very intense circulation right now. This is going to be Highway 309, Texas 309. That storm system itself is crossing right over there. Eureka's likely feeling some strong winds. The flanking line is right behind it, so we're getting some strong winds back at Eureka. And those flanking winds are also going to be felt. They'll be very strong, especially if this storm itself and that circulation itself is also getting stronger as we speak. So I'm concentrating on that storm because it looks like it's the strongest circulation right now. But if I go back up here toward Canton, that looks like that circulation has widened out. That's great news for the city of Canton. I still would not let my guard down on that storm as it turns again. Here's another storm trying to turn a little bit farther to the right. This estimated time of arrival of the circulation in Canton was 3:01. The heavy thunderstorm is already there. I mean, it did not take very long at all for the thunderstorm. Look at all that rain and lightning. So the thunderstorm got there. In fact, there may be some hail inside of that storm as I look at that, just based on this little appendage here. Let me go in and check out the hail tracker for us and see if we've got some hail. Yeah, there's some hail right in here west of the city of Canton. It's marble size, so it's not a tremendously large hail. It could be bigger. Here's some hail up around Emory. The largest hailstones we're seeing right now are going to be northwest of Mount Vernon in this tornado-warned storm that's headed for Bogota. There's Taylortown also seeing some hail, and there's hail coming down in Flora right now. I encourage anybody that can safely take the picture of the hail or any of the curious cloud features that you may see today, sharing those with us, news at CBS19.TV and or weather. What that allows us to do is verify what we're seeing, and then we share those pictures, of course, with the National Weather Service. This little appendage here is trying to perhaps curl up a little bit. Strong inflow into the storm right here. You've got outflow coming, and it's creating this big anvil of rain and thunder. The lightning has certainly intensified within the cell there at Flora, and that cell is sitting right over top of Florida. We're talking about maximum hail size here approaching golf ball sized hail. The probability that we're seeing hail inside that cell is 100%. The probability of it being at least the size of quarters is 80%. Now, the tornado impact, according to our algorithm, is rather on the lower side, and this is a bigger hail producer, which was also another threat with these storms today, is that we would potentially see some large hail with the storm. So Flora right now potentially seeing some large hail. That cell itself with that hail core is going to be tracking northward 40 miles an hour. So these storms are moving along at a pretty good clip here. And as they move up to the northeast, eventually they'll cross over here into southern Oklahoma, but you've got another storm behind that headed right over the same areas. In fact, this might be a bit of an issue here that we see several of these cells, and we talked about this last night on our stream if you were watching, how they would line up, and I called those a string of pearls, that we'd have 1, 2, 3, 4, possibly 5 rotating supercells moving from the southwest to the northeast. And so each one of those could prompt a tornado warning for us. So when we look at those circulations, we certainly have that one there, and we have that another circulation now to the west of Canton, and we just get an update here. So we have Henderson, Navarro County still until 3:30, and we still have Van Zant County until 3 o'clock. The rotation inside the cell here at Canton, let me zoom in a little bit on that. You can see it looks a little wider to me than what I've seen before from what we were seeing prior. But if you live in Canton, or if you know of anybody driving on Interstate 20 coming from the Dallas area toward Canton, or from, let's say, Tyler back toward Canton, the time now is to get them off the highway and get them to shelter. So text them, call them, tell them to find some sturdy structure, not to be on the roadway as that cell crosses over top of the highway, and they may, in fact, find that. That's that tornado warning until 3 o'clock again for Van Zant County. So let me zoom in just a little bit farther. I want to get a little look inside that storm using what we call our Titan indicator. That gives us the algorithmic probabilities of what we're seeing inside the storm itself. And if I could just click on that little swirling side there we go. So this hail might be a quarter in size. The probability that it has at least some Marble-sized hail in that's 100%. Probability that it's quarter-size, 40%. Tornado impact is a little bit higher than 0. The hail impact and flooding impact, the heavy rain impact, is going to be the heaviest with that. So that severe thunderstorm warning now goes until 3:15. We'll wait and see if the tornado warning is extended. What may happen here with the Van Zandt County storm is this tornado warning could expire, but then be replaced with this severe thunderstorm warning that has the possibility of producing a tornado. We had a stronger circulation back here to the southwest of Athens just a little bit ago. This also looks like it may have weakened just a little bit. I do not see the tight couplet that we had earlier between the reds and the greens. Of course, if you're going to have the reds going, that's going to be going toward or away from the Fort Worth radar, and the greens are going to be wrapping back toward the Fort Worth radar. And so you can see we have sort of a mishmash of winds and rotation. It looks like it's widened out a little bit. There may have been a little gust of wind out here to the east of that. Maybe Athens, you're feeling some gusty winds off of that storm. Winkler may be seeing some gusty winds also, but that tornado warning goes for the next half hour as that continues tracking northeastward. So let me get some times on these for you so you have an idea of what we're talking about for arrival times. Malakoff was in the path of this storm here, and so we wanted everybody to get down to their shelter and stay there until we can get the all clear given. So this storm is moving northeast. I'm going to say they're all moving at about 40 miles an hour to 44 miles an hour. So that's Eustis and Malakoff. Malakoff in about 10 minutes, Eustis in about 20 minutes, Jackson right around 3:39, Canton 3:47, if that cell holds together. It likely holds together as its cell, but will it still be tornadic at that time? That remains unclear. We're about a minute and a half away from seeing if this storm cell gets extended out in parts of Van Zandt County. But currently, we have 3 tornado warnings ongoing. We'll cover all those again. For anybody up here to the north, we have that severe thunderstorm warning, tornado potential at Clarksville, Bogata, and then you can see that cell right there. And again, that circulation itself from the Fort Worth site looks like it may have also weakened just a little bit. In fact, it's spread out just a little bit farther. Another reissuance of this tornado warning till 3:15 for Delta County. That's Delta County. There's Cooper. All right, you still have the northeastern corner of Hopkins County, but Sulphur Springs, you are not in the tornado warning. And then you also have Lamar County. That would be Clarksville, city of Paris. That storm is headed up in that direction. And then also just another sliver of this heads toward the Franklin Red River County area, just clipping Franklin County and then headed up toward Red River County. So right in here, just clips Franklin County. There's Mount Vernon. So Mount Vernon, you are not in that cell right now. So I'm going to go back just to radar because what I want to show you is just the intense lightning and thunder and potential hail. We have had some hail reports here, or at least inside our radar, the hail looks like it's showing up to be maybe the size of quarters and maybe a little bit larger. In fact, I'll put on the hail tracker here again, and you'll see some of the larger hailstones. In fact, the hail core is weakened just a little bit as it's moved into southern parts of Lamar County. Here's the city of Pittsburgh, or Paris, I should say. You're not in that tornado warning right now, but the tornado warning goes until 3:30 for Clarksville, for 3:15 out here into Delta County, and then we'll see on the other hail cores. Hail core sometimes can tell us the strength of the updrafts in the thunderstorm, which then can tell us whether or not the cell is strengthening or weakening. Looks like the Van Zandt County tornado warning has been allowed to expire at 3 o'clock. Still, I would use caution until the severe thunderstorm warning is allowed to expire at 3:15. But this cell here near Goodloe, that appears to have strengthened just a little bit. So let's look at that. I'm judging that on what I'm seeing in terms of the hail core coming up. And it is, there it is. There's the circulation near Karen. So if you live in that area, please head to your shelter right now. Stay there. This cell, again, like the others, has turned a little bit to the right. That's why I say, city of Athens, it's better for you to be in your safe place right now. If you're in your safe place and that storm decides to turn to the right, then you are already in the safest place you can be. But you can see it's trying to hook up just a little bit. It's trying to get a little hook on it down here toward Richland, crossing Interstate 45 north of Fairfield. I'll back this up a little bit and move it forward just so I can see in that kind of movement. Look at the direction of the storms here. They're moving almost south to north. In East Texas, if we're going to have a tornado, and a strong tornado, most of our cells will follow this path, south to north. And that means that the southerly winds at the aloft are driving those storms, while the surface winds could be out of the southeast. And so what does that do? It creates turning. So you've got winds that would be driving the storm that way. At the same time, there's winds coming in from the south. So you see what happens in there? You get that turning going on. So that's why you're seeing when those cells move in that direction near Mahia up toward Gun Barrel City. Gun Barrel City is just now getting into the fringes of this intense thunderstorm. I'm watching that area right there, just to the north of the interstate near Richland as it continues to move northward. We'll see if that doesn't continue to swirl up just a little bit or curl up or try to become some kind of hook echo on that. Meantime, if we look at these other cells back here toward Canton, and let me grab that, back toward Canton, and put that into motion. You can see the lightning increasing as it crosses Interstate 20 up toward Edgewood. It looks like our Titan indicator has fallen off that storm. That was the one that was tornado warned, and then it weakened. Still some hail in that. The lightning has certainly increased. I bet the rainfall, let me check out the rainfall rates on that. In the last hour or so, I'm sure they are quite high. This is going to be estimated 1 hour rainfall. Look at that. I mean, you're talking about 3/4 of an inch to an inch and a quarter, maybe 1.5 inches to 2 inch an hour rainfall rates. In addition, now there might be some hail contamination in here, but very heavy rainfall. Edgewood, Canton, blinding rainfall for anyone trying to drive on Interstate 30 from Gun Barrel City on down to the southwest. Again, that's just going to be northwest of Athens currently. All right, so let me go back to our wind tracker, and on our wind tracker we get the tornado warnings that are still in there. Again, sort of disorganized, but we still have the tornado warning for parts of Henderson County, and then we have that other tornado warning currently for Franklin, Red River, Delta, and Hopkins County. And even in that cell itself, I don't see a whole lot of organization with that cell. It looks like it was a little bit stronger earlier, and that looks like at least some parts of that have weakened. There might be some stronger winds moving away, so maybe some outflow winds northwest of Mount Pleasant. We've got that other cell down here toward Athens. And again, Athens is right on the edge of that. That's why I said in Athens you needed to go to your safe place. And that looks like that has really widened out. That circulation has broadened out a lot. So we've got about 26 minutes to go on that tornado warning. We'll see if that will continue. All right, we're going to get a TxDOT camera here. This is Canton, Interstate 20. Moments ago, I was talking about the blinding rain, and you can see, look at the visibility being reduced. Now, I don't see any features on that camera that would concern us in terms of anything that looks tornadic, but you can see the spray coming off the cars, the trucks, the lights, how they're obscured in the distance, and the visibility and the blinding rainfall. And I talked about 1.5 to 2 inch an hour rainfall rates over Interstate 20 in that area just a little bit ago. And that is from the Canton, that's the TxDOT camera on Interstate 20 near Canton. So anytime we can get a look like that, that gives us verification. That's why when I say we ask for, if you can do it safely, anytime you can share a picture with us in our newsroom or to the Weather Center, whether it's CBS19.TV, anytime you can share a photo like that, that just gives us visual confirmation. You know, in social science settings, one of the first things that people do when they hear about a tornado warning is, what do you think they do? Yeah, you go outside to look, right? You want visual confirmation. We don't recommend that, but it's in our nature. It's in our nature to go look. We want visual confirmation. So that's what we try to do as a television station, is give you visual confirmation when we can, either by radar or by any type of camera that we have, or if we have, I'm going to call them a chaser, but we have somebody out in the field that is following the storm, and they can give you visual confirmation of what you're seeing. When you see visual confirmation, you know what action to take. We tell you to go to your lowest room of your house, your most interior room. That's the action we want you to take. But we know that a lot of folks' first instinct, and I don't blame you, but we don't recommend it, is everybody wants to go outside and see what's going on. Because once you see it, then you believe it for yourself, right? We can say it, National Weather Service can issue it, and even the radar is only looking at a part of the storm. But ground truth from trackers in the field, from law enforcement, trained storm spotters, that's the kind of stuff that just hits home, and we know when you see that you're gonna take heed and you're gonna do what you need to do to stay safe in a storm system like that. So Let me widen that, just go up a little bit farther to the northwest. Here's Tauco right now, just a little bit of a weakened rotation. I don't see anything super strong within there. Still doesn't take much for this to tighten back up. A lot of times, tornadic supercells will go through kind of a cyclical nature where they'll cycle, where they'll go weaker, and then they'll generate and get stronger again. Maybe that circulation forms in a different part of the supercell like that. So we see that plenty of times from a cell like this. So again, just because there's not a lot showing up right now doesn't mean that we couldn't get something more. Franklin, Red River County till 3:30, Delta, Hopkins, Lamar County for about the next 8 minutes, and then on back down where we've got this tornado warning for Henderson and Navarro County till 3:30. Meteorologist Sarah Blue joining me now here in the Weather Center. And Sarah, what are you seeing so far?
Hey, good morning, Brett. Well, we are seeing a few more tornado warnings get issued. I just got word in from the National Weather Service. We're in the National Weather Service chat room there. The Canton Police Department says that they are seeing something on the ground that appears to be a tornado. Again, this is not confirmed. I can give you the address as well. This is from Emergency Management at Canton, or I should say in Van Zandt County in Canton.
How long ago was that?
That was just a few minutes ago.
Okay.
Whiteworth Community, that is near 1255 near Whiteworth Community at VZC. Again, that is in Canton, where we have gotten that report from Emergency Management just in about a minute or two ago. Now, there has been another, or I should say that there's a new tornado warning that should be incoming for Van Zandt County very soon if it hasn't already been issued. Now, we do have a tornado warning in effect for the counties, for part of Henderson and Navarro counties. We are seeing a few rotations in there, not quite as organized as you usually see, but again, given how energetic this system is, I would not be surprised if we have something on the ground. Another tornado warning toward oh, I bet this is it. Given the organization of that system, that's what Emergency Management has been saying that they're likely seeing. All right, we're expecting lots of hail out of this as well. The National Weather Service is saying about 3/4 of an inch of hail is likely out of this. This is out toward Canton, just to the east. Let's see if we can get ground level there. Now remember, what you're seeing for us here from our radar site to your screen could be up to a lag of 7 minutes. So make sure that you are keeping that in mind and going to your safe place. So just to the east of Canton, out toward Wentworth, Colfax, I would make sure that I was in my safe place if I were you. That's just about to cross I-20 is what I'm seeing. Alrighty, that's out toward Canton Hackney Road, toward Interstate 20, toward Highway 19 is where I'm seeing that as well. Highway 64 as well, that's where we're seeing that rotation. Once again, we were getting emergency management reports of something on the ground there.
So that's real close to the Canton Trade Day Fairgrounds. That's very close to that. That's on the east side of town on 64 as you come in. So that's very close to that. So anybody that might be on the fairgrounds, hopefully they've gone to a spot, a safe place. Hey, if you could go back up to the Franklin County storm, just want to, what they reissued Rains County.
Oh yeah, there you go, what's up?
Yeah, so, you know, we have the National Severe Storms Laboratory in the area today. And one of their employees says the storm west of Mount Vernon has an incredibly low cloud base, very hard to see anything underneath from a distance. The storm may be riding along the frontal boundary given the large shelf feature extending along the eastern flank of the storm. So there could be something embedded or very close to forming on the ground there in southern Lamar County, northwestern Franklin County. So right in that area where you see the reds and the greens. I'm not sure if you can see me, but we'd be right in here near Clarksville and up towards Sulphur Springs. That Van Zandt County storm, that did not look like it was trying to reorganize here, and as it did, it looks like it picked up a little bit more steam. That's going to be right back in there, as Sarah was pointing out, right in there. Look at that now. That has certainly strengthened up quite a bit. So sometimes, as Sarah was mentioning, you see the radar beam goes out, it comes back, it gets translated, it comes back in. So there was ground truth. So we may have if they're reporting a tornado on the ground, Lawrence Springs, toward Jones, Pruitt, and Grand Saline, I would all be in my safe place right now. That looks like that just crossed over the interstate. If we get another TxDOT camera from that area, that'd be great to see that again. But yeah, so that's the Weather Service is saying. You got it right there?
Yeah, they have it up.
Oh, nice. Yeah, look at that. So you can see the low cloud bases on that. That was one of the things today when they did the soundings this morning. Well, the condensation level, or where the clouds would form, was only a few hundred feet off the surface, and that was in our environment here. Why is that important? Well, it doesn't take long for a circulation to reach down to the surface. So let's please be in our safe place. Jones, Lawrence Springs. We're going to go back here toward Grand Saline, Fruitvale, Pruitt. I would just be in my safe place anywhere in here because of this cell. I'm going to track that. Sarah, unless you want to put a little cone shape on that for us.
Yeah, for Canton there?
Yeah, on
let
that
me
storm
pull it up for
and
you.
take it up toward Quitman. So
Do you
Quitman,
know
I
how
know
fast
you're
it's
not.
moving?
It's moving to the northeast at 40 miles an hour.
All right, so it is flying.
Yeah, as all of these storms are in the environment. So you can see Quitman, 344. Jones is within the tornado warned polygon area. That's at 318, so that's just about 5 minutes away. So you need to be moving quickly, and Jones getting to your safe place right now if you're not already there. Again, now we have the confirmed tornado within the red box. So we have an observed tornado officially from the National Weather Service, and that's going to be in Van Zandt County. That tornado warning now goes until 4 o'clock. So Delta, Hopkins, Lamar, and Rains County have also been added. There's Rains County, southeast of Emory. Emory is not in that right now. We do have, I'm surprised they did not add Wood County into that, but they may soon. But they have the observed tornado right in, I believe, right there, northwest of Martins Mill and Ben Wheeler. So in the Jones community, you need to be in your safe place right now in Van and in Grand Saline. So any chance you could maybe sample this for us in terms of our gate-to-gate shear on that?
Yeah, we'll go ahead and
See
get a
what we're
check
looking
on
at.
that.
I have a feeling that looks like that's, if we circulate, we could probably even then go to our debris tracker and see if there's something correlate. 86 miles an hour. So we're talking about at least EF1 there. So it may not be a big tornado. It doesn't matter. EF1 will do some damage and can cause some big time problems, especially if there was a big rig crossing Interstate 20 when that storm crossed over top of that. Look at that lightning. Wow, tremendous amounts of energy inside that storm. We're looking at the debris tracker. So the low end would be something that is not, say, a raindrop or an ice pellet or something like that. The high end here, the pinks, are rain. So this is somewhere in the middle. I don't really see anything, a great feature that would tell us either way. So we'll wait and see. But it looks like if we go back to our wind tracker, we'll be able to see the winds in red going toward, or away, I should say, from the Fort Worth radar. So these winds are going away from the radar. The green's going back in toward the radar. There's Fort Worth. So that's the closest radar to that storm right now. So that's the one that we're going to sample off of. Shreveport's still pretty far away, but so it would be shooting at about 9,000 or 10,000 feet. But Fort Worth probably shooting at about 4,000 to 5,000 feet into that. So it's at least seeing mid to low level circulation with that storm, but already trained spotters have observed a tornado. That's what those black lines mean. That's north and east of Canton. So we hope everybody's safe there in the Canton area and doing taking the right tornado precautions at this time. Sarah?
Hey, right. Well, they did just extend that tornado warning that we've been tracking for that confirmed tornado. The National Weather Service just confirmed it. They extended it into parts of Smith and Wood County. That comes and just clips the very northwestern end of Smith County there. It includes Mineola. You are now in a tornado warning in Mineola. Same goes for Golden. Quitman, make sure that you're in your safe place. Oak Grove, you need to be taking shelter. Stout, you're in tornado warning as well. Coke, same with Yantis. That stops just short of Winnsboro, but really Winnsboro, I would be prepared to take shelter ASAP. There's a chance they end up extending this as we do have that confirmed tornado. Once again, that was reported by emergency management by the police department out in Canton. And really, we have just been watching this. It's really well organized. You can see where the red and the green are meeting on your screen just to the west of Jones. That's where we've been seeing that rotation. And based off of everything that we're seeing, I suspect that there's quite a bit of rotation there. Now, I was tracking another tornado warning that was just a little bit farther south. I don't see that. They let that one expire. And now it's just the cell that we've been tracking. A little bit of rotation to the south of Sulphur Springs there. It's beginning to pick up, right, Brett?
Yep, yeah, just west of Picton, the Sulphur Springs area. You know, Como-Picton, they released school early today. It was such a smart move on their part because the kids would be getting out of school now, and they got out of school at 1 o'clock today and got everybody home and safe, and that was a good move on their part. You can see that's a tighter circulation right now south of Sulphur Springs, south of Interstate 30. So good move on their part. Going back to that Canton storm, of course, we have the observed tornado on the ground. By the way, there is a tornado watch until 9 o'clock for all of these counties that are currently in some sort of tornado warning. This is the one back at Grand Saline and just northwest of Van. Again, it looks like it's widened out just a little bit, was a little bit tighter. But these storms can tend to go through a regeneration process. So the weekend, they can speed back up just a little bit and perhaps produce another tornado at some point. That goes until 4 o'clock. So that's kind of a fresh tornado warning. That's going to go for the next 45 minutes. So this environment here today, we got a lot of winds aloft, pulling the air like a vacuum cleaner off the ground. And then with any change of speed or change of direction with height, that can get the air starting to roll. And then if you get enough rolling, it can start twisting, and then it can extend down to the ground. And so that's what we've seen so far. If you're kind of tuning in and around this, you're just joining us right now, we're looking at that tornado warning in Van Zandt County, but also extends into this very small portion of Smith County. So you're like, why is it Smith County? Well, because in this environment also, these storms can tend to, and I'll draw on this real fast and show you what's happening. When we have strong winds aloft like this, sometimes we can see the storms turn to the right just a little bit. So just that little bit of a shift in the direction could take that into the extreme northwestern part of Smith County, and there's Mineola. So right now, Sarah was tracking from just northeast of Canton up toward Quitman on a more direct line, but you also have to consider the fact that the margin of error widens out as the storm continues to move, and we have to account for any type of right-hand turn to that storm. So let's put another track on that, Sarah, from the center of that circular. It looks like it's trying to tighten back up again.
It does, and real fast, Brett, while I have you, we're seeing from the National Weather Service that there is a secondary rotation, or that was a confirmed tornado in Canton, but it does appear that there may be a secondary rotation that's moving into Wood County as we speak right now, so just make sure that you're staying extra weather aware.
Secondary maybe this
I believe it's
here?
this one to the west of Grand Saline. So
okay.
That one is yet to be confirmed, but still make sure that you are staying cautious and in your safe place, as we can have two tornadoes wrapping around each other. That is something that is very possible.
Yeah, we saw that in Arkansas earlier this week. That is very possible. Yeah, indeed.
I'm going to put this on a bit of a squall line track, so it'll get a few more cities that may be in the path of these rotations. Make sure that you are, again, allotting that there could be a little bit of error in these exact timings. So go ahead and go to your safe place now if you are in any of these cities. Jones, you need to be taking shelter. Alba, that should get to you closer to 3:30. We're giving you a little bit of headway. Go to your safe place right now. Calvary, that's closer to 8:45. Quitman, a little closer to 4 p.m. And beyond that, Picton, that should get you closer to 4:20. And then Musgrove, closer to 4:30. Make sure you are staying cautious and staying in your safe place until the tornado passes you by. Remember, if you hear sirens, you need to go inside. Your safe place is going to be the lowest level of the building in the most interior room. Now, if you're at your place of work, you need to be following your emergency protocol. But if you are at home, make sure that you are going to the most interior room. If you live in a mobile home, the National Weather Service has said it can be safer outside of a mobile home rather than inside of a mobile home. Do your best to get to a permanent structure, as it is very dangerous. That's one of the worst places to be. If you're in a vehicle, pull over. If there's a restaurant on the side of the road, a Whataburger, a gas station, and you are in that tornado warned polygon, make sure that you are staying safe and go to a sturdy structure. Now, really, I'm watching these two areas of rotation that are visible from both of these radar
Jones.
sites.
Look at Jones.
Oh, yeah, I suspect there's something. If you're in Jones, please go in your safe place. We want to make sure that you guys make it through this safely.
Yeah, National Weather Service saying tornado warned storm, which would have been west of the county line. So that cell right there confirmed it was 4 miles northeast of Canton about 4 miles ago, or 4 minutes ago, and that is moving northeast at 40 miles an hour. So that's going to take that up into Wood County. So that is, I'm going to zoom in a little bit farther on that, see if there's any type of tighter look that we can see. So that's 110. So that's going to cross right over 110 and on the northwest side of Jones. So yeah, please be in your safe place currently in Jones, because we have a confirmed tornado in that area. So please make sure that you are in sheltered. One of the best things to do is to get in, get down, and get covered. So what are we saying? We're saying get into a shelter, get as low as you can get, and also get covered up, blankets, pillows, anything that you can as this